This is a backyard tour video, and I'm standing in the middle of the new grass area shooting back towards the fence in the alley. As you can see, there's 3 junipers there in a row, and they're hard to see, but those dark bushes in the corners are called 9-barks, and that is some type of funky Norwegian spruce I bought about a month ago and put in the ground. That sticking up thing with its funny shape. And then those are red barberries, those small bushes, and so on. And now I'm standing right where that seating area you just saw was, and shooting back towards the house. And we're doing some work next door. We're painting the house next door, as opposed to, and roofing it, and doing a bunch of work to the interior. So big project next door. And again, 3 junipers there separating the 2 yards, and we took out the chain link fence and plan to build a new fence, but I do plan to incorporate some of that yard over there into this one and build a little garden over there, so that should be fun. And as you can see, we have a fountain which is not running. I don't have it turned on right now, but I'll turn it on in a second. And let's walk over towards the patio. Okay, I've turned the fountain on, and beyond the fountain we have the area underneath the spruce tree. Let's go take a look at that. That's a new Japanese maple I put in this year. It's they're notoriously finicky. I hope it makes it through the winter and comes back next year, because it's a nice looking tree. It looks good underneath the spruce tree. And I forget what these flowers are, to tell you the truth. I planted one plant 15 or 20 years ago, with these white flowers, and it's now kind of slowly spread through the whole area, and I think that's great. That's tarragon. We use that to cook primarily chicken dishes, cream sauce and chicken dishes. And the daylilies are on their last daylily. What we have here is French lavender. Now you can tell it's French lavender because it's a light purple, light blue flower and slightly silvery foliage. And we'll contrast that with the English lavender, which I'm going to show you right now. Now that is English lavender, and it has a much darker flower and greener foliage. I prefer English lavender because I like the flower. And this is by the way, this is the bed. This is that 3-tier bed that's just off of our, right beside our patio. And that giant plant right there produces yellow squash. And it's in the shade just a little bit. But those are zinnias. Chris built the pots this year, the flower pots this year, and they sure do look nice. These are 2 of them right kind of by the back door to our bedroom, just off the patio, and of course that's where we eat. Let's take a look over there and see what we have over there in the rest of the garden. By the way, I didn't really show you this below the lavender. This is a little herb garden, and there's some green beans planted in there too, in the French style, which is to say that what they will do is they will have, instead of rows of stuff, they will have primarily zinnias and marigolds interspersed with vegetables and herbs in order to probably to ward off bugs if that actually works. But as you can see, there's some chives there sticking up, those spiky things sticking up. Those are chives, and there's some oregano in there. And if you look carefully, you can see some sage in that mottled color way down below down there, and gobs of thyme, and some green beans, which are past their peak, but they're still producing. To orient you, there's the back door and the grill. Now we're standing by the back door right beside the grill. And we've got this little sitting area there with the small round table, which we think looks kind of good. And across the way, you can see 4 big things of grass, which just ornamental grasses. And then those big multicolored flowers are also zinnias, but they are really big zinnias. Now I'm sitting on the edge of the patio, shooting back over those yellow Zagreb coreopsis. And as you can see, there's a vine growing out of the garden and onto the patio that has cucumbers on it. Little, I think they're lemon cucumbers. They don't taste like lemon, but they're round and kind of yellowish, and they're very good actually. And just beyond the Zagreb coreopsis, you see obviously sticking straight up out of it is the zinnias, but right below the zinnias, that thick looking thing they're called asters, and boy have they come on this year. And so they should start producing purple flowers any day now, because there's a whole ton of buds on there. And we have another one of those giant squash plants. The rose has done very well this year. As you can see, there's a hummingbird back there defending his turf. Some nice roses at the top there, along with a bunch of buds that are still going to come out. The Mr. Lincoln rose is it's a classic rose that produces tremendous flowers, as well as tremendous rose scent. By far my favorite scented rose. Here are the other flower barrels that Chris put together this year, and they do look great. And down below, this is, if I do say so myself, some really, really good Irish moss. It's just found its real happy place there. It gets a lot of water and it gets some sun, but not too much. And it is very pleased to live right there. Now these sticking up things right here were lily trees, but of course the bloom is off them, as you can see. But they produce big, huge lily trumpet looking flowers like you might see at the grocery store or the florist. And they have a tremendous exotic scent to them, and they looked great while they were still blooming. And we'll come up like this and look back across the whole schmear back towards the back, and you can see the fountain over there and the backyard and all that. This is along the side of the house. I bought a watering trough used for farm animals, drilled some holes in the bottom of it, and filled it with dirt, and we have an instant raised bed garden. And well, a couple of daisies right there in the front, but those are green beans, which are going to start producing prolifically here pretty soon. And there's also some French breakfast radishes mixed in there, which are very good, thinly sliced and eaten on a cracker with butter. You'd be surprised. It's a good taste. Continuing along the walkway on the side of the house, We have the watering trough, which is full of tomatoes, which we always put here, and it's producing tons of cherry tomatoes. And there is a hanging basket along the side of the house, along the side of the front porch. And this right here is something called sorrel, and it is it's an herb. It's very good. It's good to make sauces with. Here we are in front of the house, and this is still a work in progress. The house looks great, but we took out the big elm tree in the front yard, that huge tree. Well, that's where it used to be. And now we're just gonna have lawn across there. And I am gonna buy a tree or so and put that in the grass in the middle and expand that that bed in front of the house. I'm gonna pull it out a little bit and put some more stuff in there. One benefit of taking away the tree is these plants have a lot more sun and they grow a lot better. Everything you see in front of the house here has grown tremendously this summer because it just gets more sun. And that concludes our garden tour of the Lyon house.